Listen carefully, because this message may change the direction of your life forever. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply disconnected from the power sleeping inside you. Every fear you avoid, every excuse you repeat, every moment you doubt yourself, it slowly destroys the person you were meant to become. But today can be different. Today, you can make a decision that changes everything. A decision to face yourself honestly. A decision to stop escaping pain and start growing through it. Because deep inside you, there is another version of yourself waiting to rise, stronger, wiser, fearless, unstoppable. There comes a moment in every human life when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. Most people never reach that moment consciously. They wake up every day living the same routine, thinking the same thoughts, repeating the same excuses, while their dreams slowly die in silence, and then they ask, "Why is my life not changing?" Because transformation does not begin outside of you, it begins inside your mind. Carl Jung once believed that the greatest battle is not with the world, but within yourself. Inside every human being, there are two versions fighting for control. One version wants comfort, the other wants greatness. One wants safety, the other wants growth. One whispers, "Stay where you are." The other screams, "Become who you were born to be." The question is, which voice will you follow? You see, people spend years blaming others for their suffering. They blame society. They blame their past. They blame failure. But true power begins the moment you take responsibility for your own life. Not because everything was your fault. Because everything becomes your responsibility. And responsibility is power. The truth is, your greatest enemy is not outside you. It is the fear inside you, the doubt inside you, the weak mindset you feed every single day. Fear destroys more dreams than failure ever will. But listen carefully. The life you want is hidden behind the fear you avoid. That is why you must stop running from discomfort. Stop escaping loneliness. Stop distracting yourself from your own mind. Sit with yourself, focus yourself, understand yourself. Because the moment you become aware of your darkness, you begin to discover your strength. Pain is not your enemy, pain is your teacher. The strongest people are not those who avoided suffering. They are the ones who walked through suffering and refused to surrender. Every difficult moment in your life is shaping you. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every failure. It is building someone stronger inside you. But growth requires sacrifice. You cannot become powerful with a lazy mind. You cannot build confidence while constantly doubting yourself. You cannot change your future while repeating the habits destroying your present. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Wake up earlier. Work harder, control your thoughts. Protect your energy. Seeking validation from people who are lost themselves. Most people are addicted to comfort, and comfort is dangerous. Comfort makes people weak. Comfort kills ambition. Comfort destroys potential, but the moment you step into discomfort, your real transformation begins. There is greatness inside you that the world has never seen. But it will remain buried unless you have the courage to awaken it. And awakening begins with one decision. A decision to stop being average. A decision to stop feeling sorry for yourself. A decision to fight for the life you deserve. You do not need permission to become powerful. You only need courage. So starting today, stop doubting your abilities. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop living like you have unlimited time, because one day your life will end. And the greatest tragedy is not death. The greatest tragedy is reaching the end of your life and realizing you never truly lived. So rise up. Fox your fears, master your mind. Transform your pain into power, and become the person you were always meant to be. Most people think their life is controlled by luck, circumstances, or other people. They believe success belongs only to the gifted, the wealthy, or the fortunate. But the truth is far deeper than that. Your mind creates the foundation of the life you live every single day. The thoughts you repeat become beliefs, your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions create your reality. Long before anything changes around you, something changes within you. Every great transformation begins first in the mind. A weak mind sees obstacles in every opportunity. A powerful mind sees opportunities in every obstacle. Two people can go through the same pain, the same failure, and the same struggle. Yet one becomes stronger while the other gives up completely. The difference is not circumstances. The difference is mindset. Your mind is the lens through which you see the world. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, negativity, and excuses, your life will slowly reflect those thoughts. But if your mind is focused on growth, discipline, courage, and purpose, your life begins to move in a completely different direction. Many people unknowingly destroy their own future because of the story they keep telling themselves. They wake up every morning saying, "I am not good enough. I will never succeed. Nothing ever changes for me." Over time, these thoughts become emotional truths. The mind starts accepting limitation as identity. Eventually, people stop trying, stop believing, and stop fighting for the life they truly want. This is how dreams die. Not because people are incapable, but because their minds convinced them they were powerless. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant inside it will grow. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, fear, jealousy, and hopelessness, then your inner world becomes toxic. But when you begin feeding your mind with discipline, knowledge, confidence, and self-awareness, you slowly create a stronger version of yourself. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. The dangerous thing about negative thinking is that it often feels normal. People become comfortable with self-doubt. They become addicted to excuses because excuses protect them from responsibility. It is easier to blame life than to change yourself. But growth begins when you stop blaming everything outside of you and start mastering what is happening inside of you. Every successful person understands one thing. The mind must be trained. Just like the body becomes stronger through exercise, the mind becomes stronger through discipline. You cannot allow every negative thought to control you. You cannot let fear decide your future. Fear will always exist, but mentally strong people act despite fear. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward anyway. Your environment also shapes your thinking. If you surround yourself with negativity, complaining, laziness, and small-minded people, your mind slowly adopts the same energy. But when you surround yourself with ambitious people, powerful ideas, wisdom, and discipline, your thinking begins to expand. This is why protecting your mental environment is so important. What you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with, all of it programs your mind. The human mind is incredibly powerful. It can create confidence or insecurity, freedom or fear, strength or weakness. Most limits in life are mental before they become physical. The moment a person truly believes they can grow, improve, and overcome challenges, they unlock a level of power they never knew existed. But that power remains asleep in people who constantly doubt themselves. Your life changes the moment your thinking changes. When you start believing that your future can improve, your behavior changes. You begin working harder. You stop accepting mediocrity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your destiny. Everything begins in the mind. Before success becomes visible, it becomes mental. Before confidence appears on the outside, it is built silently within. Every great achievement, Every transformation, every powerful life started with one thought. I can become more than I am today. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life. It controls decisions, limits potential, and keeps millions of people trapped in lives they secretly hate. Most people spend their entire existence trying to avoid fear. They avoid rejection, failure, criticism, discomfort, and uncertainty because fear makes them feel unsafe. But what they fail to understand is that fear is not always the enemy. In many cases, fear is actually the doorway to transformation. Every meaningful change in life begins with discomfort. The moment you decide to grow, fear appears. When you try something new, fear appears. When you leave your comfort zone, fear appears. When you finally chase your dreams, fear appears stronger than ever before. This happens because the human mind is designed to seek safety and familiarity. Your brain wants to protect you from risk, even if staying safe is slowly destroying your potential. Most people mistake fear as a sign to stop. In reality, fear is often a sign that you are standing at the edge of growth. The things that scare you the most usually contain the lessons you need the most. Fear reveals the areas where transformation is possible. If something challenges you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, it means there is still growth waiting for you on the other side. Think about the moments that changed your life the most. Perhaps it was speaking up when you were terrified, walking away from something toxic, starting over after failure, or believing in yourself when nobody else did. None of those moments happened without fear. Transformation never feels comfortable in the beginning because growth requires you to become someone different. Fear has destroyed more dreams than failure ever will. Many people never even try because they are afraid of what others might think. They stay silent because they fear judgment. They settle for average lives because they fear uncertainty. They remain trapped in unhealthy situations because fear whispers that change is too dangerous. Over time, fear becomes a prison that slowly steals confidence, ambition, and self-belief. The tragedy is not fear itself. The tragedy is allowing fear to control your future. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. Courage means you move forward despite fear. The strongest people are not fearless people. They are people who learned how to act while fear was screaming inside them. They understand that waiting to feel ready is an illusion. Nobody ever feels completely ready for growth, risk, or transformation. You become ready by stepping forward anyway. Fear also exposes hidden truths about yourself. It reveals your insecurities, your wounds, and the parts of yourself that need healing. Many people avoid looking inward because they are afraid of what they might discover. But self-awareness is impossible without confronting fear. The fears you avoid today often become the limitations controlling your tomorrow. Transformation begins when you stop running from fear and start facing it directly. The moment you confront what scares you, fear begins losing its power over your mind. Every small victory builds confidence. Every difficult challenge makes you mentally stronger. Fear shrinks when action grows. There is also a deeper truth about fear. Sometimes the greatest fear is not failure, but realizing your true potential. Many people are unconsciously afraid of becoming powerful because power brings responsibility. Staying small feels safer, hiding feels safer, playing average feels safer. But deep inside, people know they were meant for more. That inner conflict creates frustration, anxiety, and emptiness. The life you want exists beyond the boundaries of your current fears. The confidence you seek is built by facing uncomfortable situations repeatedly. The strength you admire in others was created through struggle, pain, and fear. Nobody becomes powerful without first confronting weakness. Fear is not sent to destroy you. Sometimes fear is sent to awaken you. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you grow. Every time you challenge your limitations, you evolve. Every time you face uncertainty instead of escaping it, you become stronger than the person you were yesterday. The people who transform their lives are not the people who avoided fear. They are the people who walked directly through it and discovered a stronger version of themselves waiting on the other side. Most people spend their lives hiding from the parts of themselves they do not want to face. They hide their anger, insecurity, jealousy, fear, weakness, and pain behind fake confidence, distractions, and temporary pleasures. They create an image for the world while secretly fighting battles within themselves. But no matter how far a person runs, the truth inside them never disappears. The hidden side of your personality, the part you try to ignore, continues controlling your life from the shadows until you finally confront it. Carl Jung described this hidden side as the shadow self. The shadow contains everything you reject about yourself. It includes your fears, emotional wounds, suppressed desires, insecurities, and painful memories. Most people think becoming stronger means pretending these things do not exist. But true strength begins when you stop pretending and start becoming honest with yourself. The reason many people feel lost, angry, or emotionally exhausted is because they are disconnected from their true selves. They spend so much energy trying to appear perfect that they never take time to understand what is really happening inside them. A person can smile in public while suffering deeply in private. They can look successful while feeling empty inside. Ignoring your shadow may protect your ego temporarily, but it slowly destroys your peace from within. Your shadow does not disappear just because you ignore it. In fact, the more you suppress it, the stronger it becomes. Unhealed anger turns into bitterness. Hidden insecurity becomes jealousy. Repressed pain becomes emotional numbness. Fear becomes self-sabotage. People often project their shadow onto others without realizing it. They criticize in others what they secretly hate within themselves. This is why self-awareness is one of the most powerful forms of transformation. The moment you begin observing your thoughts, emotions, reactions, and patterns honestly, you start understanding yourself on a deeper level. Facing your shadow means accepting the truth about who you are without lying to yourself. It means acknowledging your weaknesses instead of hiding behind excuses. This process is uncomfortable because honesty requires courage. Most people would rather distract themselves than confront their inner darkness. They stay addicted to noise, social media, unhealthy habits, and constant stimulation because silence forces them to face themselves. But silence reveals truth, and truth is the beginning of healing. The strongest people are not those who pretend to be perfect. The strongest people are those who have the courage to confront their imperfections and grow from them. When you face your shadow, you stop being controlled by unconscious behaviors. You begin understanding why certain things trigger you emotionally. You understand your fears, your habits, and your emotional wounds. This awareness gives you power. Many people think power comes from dominating others. Real power comes from mastering yourself. A person who cannot control their emotions, impulses, or fears will always remain a prisoner of their inner world. But the moment you become conscious of your shadow, you begin taking control of your life instead of reacting unconsciously to everything around you. Facing your shadow also unlocks hidden strength. Often, the qualities you suppress contain enormous energy and potential. Some people suppress their confidence because they fear judgment. Others suppress ambition because they fear failure. Some hide their emotions because they fear vulnerability. But transformation happens when you stop rejecting parts of yourself and begin integrating them with awareness. Growth is impossible without self-confrontation. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot change patterns you refuse to see. Every great transformation begins with radical honesty. This means asking yourself difficult questions. What are you afraid of? What pain are you avoiding? What excuses are controlling your life? What truth have you been running from? Most people spend years trying to change their external life while ignoring their internal chaos. But your outer world often reflects your inner world. When you heal internally, your mindset changes. Your confidence changes. Your relationships change. Your decisions change. Facing your shadow is not about becoming ashamed of yourself. It is about becoming whole. It is about understanding that being human means having both light and darkness within you. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness, growth, and transformation. The moment you stop running from yourself, you begin discovering your true power. Because hidden beneath fear, pain, and insecurity is a stronger version of yourself waiting to emerge. Pain is something every human being tries to avoid. People spend their lives searching for comfort, happiness, and security because pain feels unbearable. Yet, despite all efforts to escape it, pain eventually reaches everyone. Failure, heartbreak, rejection, loneliness, betrayal, loss, disappointment. These experiences are part of being human. The difference is not whether people experience pain. The difference is what they allow pain to do to them. Some people allow pain to destroy them. Others allow pain to awaken them. Most people see pain as punishment. They ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They become bitter, angry, and emotionally broken because they believe suffering has no purpose. But pain often carries lessons that comfort can never teach. Pain forces people to confront themselves. It exposes weaknesses, illusions, unhealthy attachments, and hidden fears. Without pain, many people would never grow beyond the limits of their old identity. Comfort rarely creates transformation. Struggle does. When life is easy, people become distracted. They stop questioning themselves. They stop growing, but pain interrupts that comfort. It shakes people awake. Suddenly, they are forced to reflect on who they are, what they value, and what truly matters in life. Pain strips away illusions and reveals truth. Many of the strongest people in the world were shaped through suffering. Their pain taught them resilience, discipline, patience, wisdom, and emotional depth. They discovered strengths within themselves that would have remained hidden without struggle. Human beings often discover their true power only after life forces them into darkness. There are lessons that success cannot teach. Failure teaches humility. Rejection teaches independence. Loneliness teaches self-awareness. Heartbreak teaches emotional maturity. Every painful experience contains the possibility of transformation if a person is willing to learn from it, instead of surrendering to it. The danger is that pain can either deepen a person or harden them. Some people become wiser through suffering. Others become emotionally closed, fearful, and bitter. The outcome depends on how pain is processed. Running from pain only extends suffering. Suppressing emotions does not heal wounds. Ignoring inner pain simply pushes it deeper into the subconscious, where it quietly affects thoughts, behaviors, and relationships. Healing begins when people stop escaping their pain and start understanding it. Most people are terrified of emotional pain because it forces them to feel vulnerable. They distract themselves with noise, entertainment, unhealthy habits, or constant activity because silence allows buried emotions to rise to the surface. But avoiding pain prevents growth. The emotions people refuse to confront often become the chains holding them back from peace and transformation. Pain also destroys false versions of identity. Many people define themselves through external validation, relationships, status, or achievements. When those things collapse, They feel lost because they never built a strong relationship with themselves. Pain removes external distractions and forces people inward. This is why painful seasons often become periods of deep self-discovery. Sometimes life breaks people apart so they can rebuild themselves into something stronger. Growth through pain requires patience because healing is not instant. Emotional wounds take time to process. There are moments when people feel exhausted, hopeless, and emotionally overwhelmed. But even during those moments, pain can still become a teacher. It teaches endurance. It teaches emotional strength. It teaches people how to survive difficult seasons without giving up on themselves. There is also a strange power hidden inside suffering. People who have experienced deep pain often become more compassionate, more aware, and more emotionally intelligent. Suffering expands human understanding. It creates depth within the soul. Those who have walked through darkness understand life differently than those who have never struggled. Pain also forces people to become honest. It becomes difficult to continue pretending when suffering strips away distractions. Pain reveals what truly matters. It exposes fake relationships, unhealthy patterns, and destructive habits. It pushes people toward transformation, because remaining the same becomes too painful. The strongest people are not those who avoided hardship. They are the people who carried pain without allowing it to destroy their spirit. They fell, but they rose again. They suffered, but they kept moving forward. They turned wounds into wisdom and struggle into strength. Pain is not always the end of a person's story. Sometimes pain is the beginning of becoming someone entirely new. Discipline is one of the rarest qualities in the modern world, because most people are controlled by emotions instead of purpose. They act only when they feel motivated. They work only when they feel inspired. They chase comfort, distractions, and temporary pleasure while avoiding anything difficult or uncomfortable. But real strength is not built through motivation alone. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what continues moving a person forward when motivation disappears. A disciplined mind is powerful because it does not depend on feelings to take action. It understands that success, growth, and transformation require consistency. Most people fail not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they lack discipline. They start strong but quit when things become difficult. They make promises to themselves but break them repeatedly. Over time, this destroys confidence because every broken promise weakens self-trust. Discipline is the ability to control yourself even when comfort is calling your name. It means waking up early when your body wants more sleep. It means continuing to work when your mind wants distraction. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. Every disciplined action strengthens the mind, because it teaches you that you are capable of controlling your impulses instead of becoming a slave to them. The modern world constantly encourages weakness. Endless entertainment, instant gratification, social media, and comfort have made people mentally fragile. Many people cannot sit alone with their thoughts for even a few minutes without needing stimulation. They avoid silence because silence forces them to confront themselves. Discipline becomes difficult in a world designed to distract you. That is why disciplined people stand out so powerfully. Every great achievement requires sacrifice. No one becomes mentally strong while living carelessly. No one builds confidence through laziness. Confidence is built when you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can do difficult things. Discipline creates self-respect because deep inside, people know when they are avoiding their potential. There is something transformative about doing what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like doing it. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you strengthen your character. Every time you resist distraction, you become mentally sharper. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you build inner trust. This process may seem small in daily life, but over time it completely changes a person's identity. Weak habits create weak lives. Strong habits create strong lives. Many people wait for the perfect moment to change. They wait to feel ready. But discipline teaches you that action must come before emotion. You do not become disciplined after life improves. Your life improves because you become disciplined. Small daily actions repeated consistently shape your future more than temporary bursts of motivation ever will. Discipline also protects people from emotional chaos. Without discipline, emotions control decisions. A person becomes reactive, impulsive, and unstable. But disciplined individuals develop emotional control. They understand that feelings change constantly, but principles remain. This allows them to continue progressing even during difficult emotional periods. One of the hardest forms of discipline is mental discipline. It is easy to control actions for a short period of time, but controlling thoughts requires deep awareness. Negative thinking, self-doubt, fear, and overthinking can destroy a person from within. Mental discipline means refusing to let destructive thoughts dominate your mind. It means consciously choosing focus, gratitude, patience, and resilience even during hardship. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. The people who transform their lives are usually not the most naturally talented people. They are the people who remained consistent when others became distracted. They continued improving while others made excuses. They kept moving forward even during boring, painful, and exhausting periods. Over time, this consistency creates extraordinary results. There is freedom hidden inside discipline. At first, discipline feels restrictive because it forces you to resist comfort and temptation. But eventually, discipline creates independence. A disciplined person is no longer controlled by laziness, distraction, fear, or emotional instability. They become stronger than their impulses. The most dangerous thing about living without discipline is that years can pass without real growth. People stay trapped in cycles of procrastination, excuses, and regret while constantly promising themselves they will change someday. Discipline breaks this cycle. It transforms ideas into action and dreams into reality. Every disciplined decision is shaping the person you are becoming. Whether people realize it or not, they are training themselves every single day. They are either training weakness or training strength. And over time, those daily choices become identity. One of the biggest reasons people lose themselves is because they spend too much of their lives trying to be accepted by others. From a young age, many people are taught to seek approval. They learn to change their personality, hide their truth, and silence their voice in order to fit in. Slowly, they begin shaping their identity around what other people expect instead of discovering who they truly are. Over time, this creates deep inner emptiness because a person cannot feel fulfilled while living as someone they are not. The desire for approval is natural to some extent because human beings are social creatures. Everyone wants to feel valued, respected, and understood. But the problem begins when approval becomes an addiction. When people constantly depend on external validation, they lose control over their own happiness. Their confidence rises and falls, depending on how others react to them. They become emotionally controlled by opinions, criticism, praise, and rejection. This is one of the weakest ways to live because it gives other people power over your identity. Many people never chase their dreams because they are afraid of judgment. They stay silent because they fear criticism. They hide their talents because they fear failure. Some people remain trapped in unhappy relationships, jobs, or lifestyles simply because they fear disappointing others. The need for approval becomes a prison that slowly destroys individuality, creativity, and inner peace. The truth is that no matter what you do, not everyone will understand you. Some people will criticize you when you fail. Others will criticize you when you succeed. Some people project their own insecurities onto those who dare to grow. If your self-worth depends on pleasing everyone, you will spend your entire life exhausted and emotionally lost. Trusting yourself is one of the most powerful forms of freedom. Self-trust means believing in your own judgment, intuition, and inner voice, even when the world doubts you. It means standing by your values without needing constant reassurance. Most people struggle with this because they have spent years ignoring themselves. They trust outside opinions more than their own instincts. They seek permission before making decisions. They constantly question themselves because they fear making mistakes. But growth requires the courage to trust yourself despite uncertainty. No great transformation happens without risk. Every successful person had moments where they had to believe in themselves before anyone else did. There were moments when they stood alone, uncertain, misunderstood, and criticized. But they continued moving forward because they trusted their vision more than public opinion. People who constantly seek approval often disconnect from their authentic selves. They become actors in their own lives, performing for acceptance. They laugh when they are hurting, agree when they actually disagree, and hide parts of themselves to avoid rejection. This creates inner conflict because the soul becomes exhausted from pretending. Authenticity requires courage because being real means accepting that not everyone will approve of you. But authenticity also creates peace because you no longer need to wear masks to feel worthy. You stop chasing validation and start building genuine confidence from within. Real confidence is quiet. It does not beg for attention or approval. It comes from knowing who you are and accepting yourself fully. Strengths, flaws, fears, and all. A person who trusts themselves becomes emotionally stronger because they are no longer dependent on external opinions for self-worth. This does not mean ignoring advice or becoming arrogant. Wisdom still matters. Learning from others still matters. But there is a difference between learning from people and becoming emotionally controlled by them. Strong individuals listen, reflect, and decide for themselves rather than blindly following external pressure. The modern world makes approval addiction even worse. Social media has created a culture where many people measure their value through likes, attention, followers, and validation from strangers. People compare their lives constantly and begin feeling inadequate when they do not receive enough approval. This weakens mental peace because external validation can never fully satisfy internal emptiness. The more people chase approval, the more disconnected they become from themselves. Freedom begins when you stop living for applause and start living according to truth. This means accepting that criticism is unavoidable. It means understanding that mistakes are part of growth. It means respecting your own path, even if others fail to understand it. Every time you trust yourself, you strengthen your inner foundation. Every time you stop seeking validation, you reclaim your power. Over time, you become more emotionally independent, more authentic, and more confident. The strongest people are not those who are loved by everyone. They are the people who remained true to themselves even when the world tried to make them doubt who they were. Most people want change, but very few are willing to take responsibility for the changes they desire. They dream about a better life, stronger confidence, success, peace, and transformation. Yet they continue blaming circumstances, other people, or the past for where they are. Blame feels comfortable because it protects the ego. It allows people to avoid facing difficult truths about themselves. But the moment a person takes full responsibility for their life, real transformation finally begins. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself for every painful thing that happened to you. Many people have experienced unfairness, betrayal, hardship, and suffering that were never their fault. But healing and growth still become their responsibility. Waiting for life to become fair before taking action only keeps people trapped in frustration and weakness. Power begins when a person stops asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and starts asking, "What can I do now?" Most people remain stuck because they are waiting for someone else to save them. They wait for motivation, support, opportunities, perfect timing, or external validation. Meanwhile, years pass and nothing changes. The painful truth is that nobody is coming to rescue you. The responsibility for your growth, mindset, habits, healing, and future belongs to you alone. This realization can feel heavy at first, but it is also incredibly liberating because it means you are not powerless. The moment you accept responsibility, you stop becoming a victim of life. Victim mentality destroys human potential because it convinces people they have no control over their future. When people constantly blame others, they surrender their power. They begin believing their circumstances define them permanently. Over time, this creates hopelessness and emotional weakness. But responsibility changes that mindset completely. It shifts focus away from excuses and toward action. A responsible person understands that their choices matter, their habits matter, their mindset matters. Even small daily decisions shape the direction of life. Many people underestimate how much control they actually have because they focus only on external problems. While some things in life are beyond control, personal attitude, discipline, effort, and perspective are always within reach. Taking responsibility also requires honesty. It means admitting where you are wasting your potential. It means recognizing destructive habits instead of justifying them. It means acknowledging when fear, laziness, insecurity, or ego are holding you back. Most people avoid this level of honesty because it is uncomfortable. But without self-awareness, growth is impossible. Responsibility is deeply connected to maturity. Emotionally immature people blame the world for everything. Emotionally mature people reflect on how they can improve themselves regardless of circumstances. This mindset creates strength because it focuses energy on what can actually be changed. There is also tremendous confidence hidden inside responsibility. Every time you take ownership of your life, you become stronger mentally. You stop depending entirely on outside conditions to feel stable. Instead of waiting for life to improve magically, you actively participate in shaping your future. This creates purpose and direction. Many people think responsibility is stressful because it involves pressure and accountability. But avoiding responsibility creates far greater suffering in the long run. Avoidance leads to regret, wasted potential, and emotional frustration. People who constantly avoid responsibility often feel powerless, because deep inside they know they are abandoning their own growth. Transformation begins with small acts of responsibility. Waking up when you said you would, keeping promises to yourself, managing your emotions instead of reacting impulsively, admitting mistakes instead of blaming others, taking care of your health, mindset, time, and future. These small actions slowly build character and self-respect. The hardest responsibility is often taking ownership of your inner world. Many people allow fear, anger, insecurity, or negativity to control them unconsciously. But mental freedom requires responsibility for your thoughts and emotional reactions. You cannot control every situation, but you can control how you respond to it. This is where real strength begins. Every successful transformation in life starts with a decision. I will take responsibility for who I become. That decision changes everything. It shifts a person from passive to active, from helpless to empowered. Instead of waiting for life to improve, they begin improving themselves. Instead of complaining constantly, they begin building. Instead of surrendering to excuses, they begin creating discipline and purpose. Responsibility is not a burden meant to crush you. It is the foundation of personal power. The people who change their lives are not always the smartest, luckiest, or most talented people. They are often the people who finally became tired of excuses and decided to take ownership of their future.